You're standing at the southern border with a badge pinned to your chest, a badge that's supposed to stand for something: honor, duty, service. But what does it mean now? Nothing. Not anymore. The uniform feels heavier with every passing day, and it's not because of responsibility. It's because of the cash crammed into your locker and the sickening truth that you sold out everything you once believed in. This is your story, and it begins with one simple choice that wrecks absolutely everything. 6 months ago, you were the model agent, the one everybody pointed to as proof that integrity still existed. You had top scores at the academy, glowing commendations, the whole polished American hero image. Your father served in Border Patrol for 30 years, 30 long years. He retired with honor, a handshake, and a pension that barely covered his medication. You watched him sacrifice everything for a system that used him up and left him struggling. You swore you'd be smarter than that, but as it turns out, being smarter just meant becoming corrupt a whole lot faster. Your breaking point arrives on a Tuesday of all days. Your daughter needs braces. She's 12, embarrassed to smile, and the orthodontist wants $4,000 up front. Your wife's car dies right after that, and the mechanic says it'll be $3,000 for a new transmission. Your credit cards are maxed out. Your savings account has $200 in it and a few pathetic coins rattling around at the bottom. That's it. You're drowning in the kind of silent desperation no one writes headlines about, the kind that quietly destroys families every day while the rest of the world keeps moving. And that's when Reyes approaches you in the parking lot after your shift. He's another agent, but he doesn't look like a man living on a government paycheck. He drives a truck that costs more than your annual salary, and he doesn't bother with small talk. He gets right to it. He asks if you want to make real money, not the miserable wages the government hands out, but enough to actually breathe, to actually live. You should walk away right then. Every second of your training is screaming at you to report him immediately. Instead, you hear yourself asking the one question that changes your life: how much? The answer is $15,000 for one night of looking the other way. $15,000? Just to let one truck pass through your checkpoint without inspection. Reyes explains it like it's no big deal, like it's almost noble. It's just people trying to find work, he says. Families looking for a better life. He dresses it up so neatly, makes it sound almost righteous. You know that's nonsense. You know it's garbage. But $15,000 would solve every crushing problem pressing down on your chest. So you shake his hand, just like that. Congratulations. You've become everything you used to despise. Your partner's a man named Daniel. 8 years on the job, 2 kids at home, coaching Little League on weekends, the kind of man people trust without even thinking about it. He's the kind of agent your father was, the kind you thought you were too. Daniel talks about integrity the way people talk about oxygen, like it's always there, always necessary, something you only notice once it's gone. You've been partners for 3 years. You know his coffee order, his kids' names, the exact sound of his laugh when something genuinely catches him off guard. He trusts you completely. That trust is going to get him killed, and you have no idea yet. The first time is almost shockingly easy. A white commercial van rolls into your lane at 2 o'clock in the morning. You recognize the plates immediately from the description Reyes gave you. Your heart is pounding so hard it feels like your ribs might crack, but your face stays calm. You wave the van through without asking for identification, without checking a single thing. The whole exchange lasts maybe 8 seconds. 8 seconds! You brace yourself for guilt, for shame, for some wave of self-loathing to crash over you. Instead, what you feel is relief, pure, sickening relief, that tomorrow you can pay the orthodontist. In the days that follow, everything feels off. You go to work, you process vehicles, you check documents, you do every part of the job exactly the way you always have. But underneath it all, there's another layer now, a hidden frequency only you can hear. You look at your co-workers differently. You start wondering how many of them are doing exactly what you're doing. You wonder if any of them can look at you and see the rot underneath. But they can't. That's the terrifying part. You look exactly the same. Corruption doesn't show on the outside. All those people you arrested over the years, the smugglers, the traffickers, the frauds, they looked ordinary too. They looked like neighbors, teachers, handymen, fathers. You always thought you'd be able to tell. You couldn't tell with them, and you definitely couldn't tell with yourself. 3 days later, Reyes hands you a gym bag stuffed with $15,000 in worn, used bills. You tell your wife you got a bonus for exceptional performance. She's so relieved, so happy, that she cries. That night, while you watch her smiling through tears as she pays bills online, something inside you dies quietly. Not with a scream, not with some dramatic collapse, just a small, final silence. And the worst part? You barely notice. The second job comes faster than you expected. This time it's $20,000, then $25,000. Reyes eases you into the system, teaching you how it works. Specific vehicles, specific times, specific lanes. At first you tell yourself you're moving people, then you realize you're moving product. And you know exactly what that means, don't you? But by then the money is too good and you're already in too deep. So what's the difference now? Within 3 months, you make more under the table than you would have earned in 5 years on salary. Your wife comments that you seem happier lately. Happier. She has no idea she's sleeping next to a criminal. The irony is unbearable. Daniel starts noticing things, little things, the kind only a partner would catch. He asks why you've been volunteering for certain lanes at specific times. He casually mentions that one truck came through your checkpoint twice in the same week, with the same plates but different cargo manifests. He says it lightly without accusation, almost like he's thinking out loud. You brush it off and tell him it's nothing. He nods and lets it drop, but you can tell he stored it away somewhere in the back of his mind. Daniel begins checking on his own. You don't realize it at first because he's subtle. He pulls incident reports from your lane, cross-references manifests, starts piecing things together the same way you would during an investigation. He's good at his job. He's always been good. That's why you trusted him for 3 years. That's why his trust in you carries so much weight. One afternoon, he mentions that something feels wrong about the maintenance logs for the scanning equipment in your sector. The same equipment you've been disabling on schedule. He says it casually, like a thought he's still working through. You tell him the scanners have always been unreliable, that you filed 3 maintenance requests this year alone. He nods, but you can see it in his eyes. He's measuring your answer against everything else he already knows. 2 weeks later, he comes directly to you. No jokes, no small talk, no way out. He says he's been watching. He says the pattern is too precise to be coincidence. He says he doesn't want to believe it, but the numbers don't lie. Then he gives you one last chance. He says he needs you to tell him he's wrong. That's all. Just tell him he's wrong, and maybe he can hold on to whatever faith he still has left in you. His voice is steady, but his eyes are desperate. They're asking a question that has only one honest answer, and you lie. You tell him he's wrong. You make it sound convincing too, because by now you've gotten very good at that. He wants to believe you, so he does, because that's what partners do. He drops it. He goes back to work. He coaches Little League that Saturday. He keeps living his life while you keep destroying yours. Then the job escalates. They need you for a major crossing, 18 vehicles over 6 hours. You disable the scanning equipment, redirect other agents, and build a perfect corridor, a clean path, smooth and quiet. You assign Daniel to a different sector that night with a report of an incident 2 miles east, something you fabricated just to keep him away from your corridor. Vehicle 12 gets stopped 15 miles inland by the DEA. The driver folds in 40 minutes, starts naming names, routes, everything. The investigation goes federal instantly. Reyes shows up at your house at 2 o'clock in the morning and tells you to run. No hesitation, no softness, no pretending anymore. Just run. What you don't know yet, what you only learn 3 weeks later while hiding in a safe house in Montana, is that Daniel went back to your sector that night. He was suspicious enough to check. He found the disabled scanner. He started making calls. He was 2 days away from filing a formal report. 2 days! The cartel found out before he could. They found out because the driver who got arrested had seen Daniel around the checkpoint often enough to identify him as someone who might be getting too close. And the organization handled it the way organizations like that always do. Quietly, decisively, permanently. Daniel was found in his car on a service road off Highway 94. One shot. That was it. The case went to homicide. His wife called you when she got the news. She said she didn't know who else to call. God, what are you supposed to do with that? You sat on the bathroom floor holding the phone in your hand, unable to speak for what felt like forever. She thought you were too devastated to talk. She was right about the devastation. She was just wrong about why. The safe house is a 2-bedroom place on a county road outside Billings. There's a propane heater, a cheap coffee maker, and a television that picks up 4 channels if the weather cooperates. The witness protection coordinator is a woman named Flores. She's done this enough times that her kindness feels professional instead of personal, and right now that's exactly what you need. She walks you through the new identities, the fake histories, the rules that will define the next 5 years of your life. No contact with anyone from your old life. No social media. No returning to the Southwest for any reason. No discussing the case with anyone who isn't cleared. Your daughter asks where her friends are. Your wife asks when this will be over. You don't have a good answer for either of them. You don't really have any answers left at all. Agent Chen explains the rest during your debrief. She tells you Daniel's death sped everything up. Federal investigators had been building a case against Reyes for 14 months. Not against you yet, not officially, but they were close. Daniel's report would have connected the last pieces. When he was killed, they moved to contain the damage immediately. That's when Chen called you. The wire, the warehouse, Valdez. 40 minutes of confession caught on tape. 37 arrests. The biggest cartel bust in a decade. Your name never appears in the news. You don't exist anymore. You're just gone. Now you're in Montana with a new name, a wife who can't look at you the way she used to, and a daughter trying to adjust to a school where nobody knows who she really is. Snow falls outside the kitchen window in thick, relentless sheets. You've never seen snow like this before. Heavy, cold, indifferent, burying everything under the same white silence. Daniel's daughter is 9. She'll grow up believing her father died on a service road doing his job. She'll be proud of him, and she should be. He was trying to do the right thing. He was trying to stop you, and it got him killed. And the men who killed him are sitting in federal custody because of information you provided while wearing a wire in a warehouse, which feels like the ugliest, most twisted form of justice imaginable. His death was made useful by your betrayal. How do you live with that? How could anyone? You think about it constantly, whether reporting him to the organization was something you did consciously or whether you simply kept your mouth shut and let the danger find him on its own. Is there really a difference? Does it even matter? Your wife asked you one night if there's something specific you still aren't telling her. You've already told her about the corruption, the wire, witness protection, all of it. But she means something deeper. She can feel there's a weight you carry that still doesn't have a name. You don't give it one. Maybe you never will. Some things stay locked inside because speaking them out loud makes them real in a way silence doesn't. Flores says 5 years minimum, maybe forever. Your daughter will finish high school as someone else. Your wife will build a life in a state she never chose. You'll wake up every morning in a house that doesn't feel like yours and go to bed every night beside a woman who is still trying to understand what you're capable of. Daniel's wife sent flowers to the funeral of a man everyone believed was you. It was part of the cover story, part of the extraction. You read about it later in a report. There was a service. People from the station came. People who knew both of you. People grieving in completely the wrong direction, never realizing it. That thought sits inside you like poison. Some nights you replay everything backward. What if you had said no to Reyes in that parking lot? What if you had reported him that same night? What if, when Daniel confronted you, you told him the truth and given him a chance to help you find a way out before the whole thing collapsed? There are a dozen moments, maybe more, where one different choice could have sent your life somewhere else entirely. You've mapped every one of them. You've memorized them. It doesn't help. Your daughter has finally made a friend at her new school, a girl named Emma who lives 2 streets over. Last week she came home talking about her, animated and excited in a way you haven't seen since before the move. For a brief second, the house sounded alive again. Your wife watched her talking and smiled, but it was the kind of smile that never reached her eyes. Later, she told you that watching your daughter make a real friend under a name that isn't hers was the saddest thing she had ever seen. You had no answer for that. Of course you didn't. You're running out of answers entirely. The coordinator calls once a month to check in. She says the case is moving forward. Valdez's trial is scheduled for next year. If your testimony is needed, it will be done remotely. You'll never have to sit in the same room with him. She says this like it's supposed to comfort you. You sit in that Montana kitchen with a mug of cold coffee in your hand while the snow keeps falling outside, covering the ground in something clean and emotionless, something that has absolutely nothing to do with what you are. You made a choice on a Tuesday because your daughter needed braces, your wife's car had died, and the numbers didn't work. Every decision after that came from the first one, the way dominoes fall after the first push. Not inevitable, maybe, but not surprising either once you've seen the pattern. Daniel is dead. Valdez is in federal custody. Your daughter is upstairs sleeping under a name that isn't hers. Your badge is gone. Your face is gone. Whatever you were before that Tuesday is gone too. What's left is what you chose, and you'll spend the rest of your life trying to decide whether a man like you can ever really live with that.